Hi, I'm Jasmine, the sequel, and I am not relatable. So, probably wondering, why does she have no makeup on? She always has makeup on. Well, the two other times you've seen me without makeup or any indication, we're doing another get ready with me. So I'm going to do a little bit more of a wearable look. I had a viewer request this a little while ago. I know a couple of you guys also requested like a Halloween look, which I never did. I'm so sorry. Next year, I promise. But this one I wanted to do for a friend of the channel by the name Made Ali. I'm not sure how that should be pronounced. So I'm going to go with Made Ali. I hope that's okay. So this is for them. They requested a very friendly, work everyday appropriate, neutral kind of a look. I'm going to be using something that I think is pretty affordable for everybody. Juvia's Place, the Saharan palette. This is great. The quality is great. It's pretty cheap. And with the holidays right around the corner, it's really, really affordable too. They run sales a lot. And you can find it at Ulta. And if not, ColourPop has some great options. That was going to be my number one choice. But then I thought, Black-owned beauty product, and might as well shout out a smaller, independently owned company. ColourPop's a huge conglomerate. I like to support smaller businesses wherever I can. So this is me doing that. Second thing, I'm also going to be talking about a creator that really infuriates me. I had someone in my comments a few videos back mention that I only seem to talk about overweight people, and I realized that I had done that. I was actually only focusing on heavier ladies, and I guess because I am a fat woman, that's kind of the space that I gravitate towards. But that doesn't mean that I stand quackery from anybody else, right? Just because you're thin doesn't mean that you're not also a quack. And that's what I want to talk about today. I'm going to talk about one of the biggest quacks, I think, on this channel, and that would be Freelie the Banana Girl. I'm sure you guys, some of you guys at least, should be aware of her. She is a Raw Till 4 proponent, a frugivore, as she likes to call it. Essentially, she's a raw food vegan, right? She eats only fruits and minimal amounts of vegetables in her diet, and she claims that this is the way that human beings should be. Most of her videos are incredibly idiotic in that vein. Now, I want to be very, very clear. I think that being a vegan for ethical reasons is by far the superior way to live. 100%. You're not going to get an argument from me from that. It's not easy and it's not quote unquote natural, but that doesn't mean that it's wrong. I think that if you want to do the best thing for the environment, you want to do the best thing for the animal, the best thing you can do is go vegan if you can maintain it and sustain it. That's not easy. Not everyone can do it. I myself, I know I can't do it. It's hard for me. And so I try and limit what I can and where I can, right? Doing as much as you can, the bulk of the work in being a vegan, the ethical work, the environmental work is done from being vegetarian. So if you feel you can do that, do that. I have a friend of mine who's vegetarian. She's gone vegetarian for ethical reasons. It's fantastic. If you can do it, I encourage everybody. My argument with Freelie isn't based on her ethics. I think that for the most part, aside from some crunchy granola stuff, she's got the right idea when it comes to protecting animals, when it comes to minimizing consumption of animal products. It's her health advice that I have a problem with. Freelie does not have any credibility when it comes to delivering this kind of information from a educational point of view, right? I'll be honest. I am not a dietitian. I am not a doctor. I am not, a therapist. I'm not any one of these people. And even if I was, please remember, I would not be yours. I would only be playing one on YouTube for you. So everything I say, take with a grain of salt. That being said, I do know how to research. And the problem with a lot of what Freelie says is just, it's garbage. There's no scientific evidence for it. And I know, especially in the United States, if you don't have the availability to go see a doctor, if you don't have the availability to go see a therapist, if you don't have the availability to go see a dietitian, you might turn to the free advice that's offered that's out there. So I want to put as much good information as I can out there so people like Freelie aren't drowning out everything with their BS, okay? Now, I'll say right off the bat, I try and look at the camera as much as possible. You guys see my eyes dart around a lot. I don't know why, it's very weird to me to try and maintain eye contact with that one little green dot on my phone. For this video, unfortunately, I will not be looking at you guys. I will be looking kind of like this. I have a mirror down here. I'll be looking in the mirror to do my makeup, obviously. So I look like slightly less of a clown than I would otherwise. And I'll put my hair down and I'll put some cute earrings on at the end, and I'll show you what the look comes out as. And I'll have all the products listed down below as always. I don't have links to anything, but that's mostly because I'm lazy and the links are really long. But if that's something you guys want, I can start including links in there. They're not going to be like affiliate links or anything like that. I'm super tiny, you guys. No one wants to partner with me. Oh, and this shirt says Yellowstone. If some of you guys have been around for a while, you know I said this was part of my summer closet, but I'm not going anywhere or doing anything, so it makes no sense for me to capsule out my clothes right now. And I like wearing t-shirts, so. All right, let's get into this. So the video that I'm talking about in particular from Freelie is one that she did covering another YouTuber by the name of Glitter and Lasers. If you guys don't know who Glitter and Lasers is, I think her like real life adult person name is Hannah O'Brien. She is another she used to be a body positive influencer. She posts a lot of like try on hauls and like just like vlogging stuff. She seems really nice. I haven't really seen a lot of controversy by her, but I also don't keep up to date with her stuff a lot. Now, the major reason why I know a lot about Hannah O'Brien and just Glitter and Lasers overall, what's happening with her journey, is that I think I've said a few times before too, that I follow John from Obese to Beast. He is a fantastic creator. And so I watch a lot of his videos, and he'd covered how Hannah O'Brien had actually gotten a diagnosis for lymphedema. Now, if you guys don't know, I myself have lymphedema. Sorry, I said lymphedema both times. I myself have lipedema. She also has lipedema. I don't know why I did that. In case you guys aren't aware, I'll link some resources down below for what lipedema actually is. A lot of the science that's emerging right now says that lipedema might not just be like a disease of like abnormal fat tissues, and it might actually be a mixed connective tissue disorder, and has a lot of other symptoms other than just odd fat deposits, right? Like a big one is hyperflexibility, which I also have. I don't know if I've ever said this, but I can clap my hands behind my back. So she has this, and I have it also. So I really did sympathize with her. And John had covered how she'd gone to see a doctor. She got diagnosed with this. And one of the biggest things they tell you is try and lose weight on your own, because unfortunately, the only real treatment for something like this is liposuction, which is, I mean, it's extremely expensive. And because this is such a new, I guess, discovery, this sort of disease, a lot of times it's either misdiagnosed as just plain obesity, it's not diagnosed at all, or even when it is diagnosed, the corrective stuff for it, like liposuction, is not actually covered by insurance. So the only option you really have is to try and lose weight on your own, and losing weight on your own can be incredibly difficult. All this is to say that because she has this, weight loss for her will be a lot more difficult, and it might even look a lot different than it might look for anybody else. But unfortunately, unless you want to shell out thousands upon thousands of dollars for liposuction, you're gonna have to. And even in that case, even if you are getting liposuction, right? Like, it's always best to try and lose as much weight as you can on your own, because I don't know if you guys are aware of this. Liposuction, you can only remove 10 pounds at a time. So if you've got a lot of fat, you might need multiple sessions. That's just going to like drive up the cost of how much you're paying. And unless you're incredibly wealthy, you know, that might not always be an option. So try and work on it as much as you can on your own is what I'm saying. Anyway, this brings me to my video right now. Glitter and Lasers put out a TikTok talking about what she eats in a day. Now, Freelie, the banana girl, reacted to it. She's reacted to a few of Glitter and Lasers' other videos. If you guys want me to cover any of her other shenanigans, I absolutely can. Because for all that I express a lot of rage towards Amberlynn and Chantal, and I know a lot of people tell me that that's because they're fat. It's not. It's because they spread a lot of misinformation and they do stupid shit to harm their own health. Freelie, I think, is actually one step worse because she spreads misinformation and harms other people's health, right? You want to make an idiotic decision for yourself that is not based in science and that will end up hurting you. Fine. do it. I'm still going to criticize you, but that's a decision you are making for you. And I don't particularly, I'm not going to say I don't care, but I guess it impacts me less. With Freely, she's claiming to be an expert. She's claiming to give medical advice to people with no authority, with no understanding, and most of it is just quackery. Oh my God, do I hate internet quackery. You guys don't even know, like, sometimes, one of the reasons I think I made a YouTube channel is so that I can like have an outlet to rant, because I tried telling partner about this, to which his response is almost always, honey, you're gonna give yourself high blood pressure. So this is me trying to avoid giving myself like an aneurysm because of the quackery of other people. And I figured that if I'm going to rage about it privately, I might as well put it out there on the internet for everybody to enjoy.
Hey free woman, I'm Freely, welcome back to the Frugivore channel. If you haven't subscribed yet, you know what to do. Click the bell icon if you actually want to watch my videos. So today's video is a reaction to Anna O'Brien, Glitter and Lasers, What I Eat in a Day TikTok. She put it up recently, so I'm going to react to that. I actually worked out all the calories. We're going to talk all about that. I give actual alternatives, healthy, cruelty-free alternatives to everything that she eats in this day, so stay tuned for that. And a lot of you told me that she's trying to lose weight, and a lot of people her size are always trying to lose weight, okay? But they're going on these fad diets and they starve themselves and they binge out, and it's just this terrible cycle that continues forever and ever and ever until someone like me comes along and says, hey, I got the solution for you. Okay, stop the pollution. I got the internal solution to your problems. And that's what we're going to talk about today.
He starts this video off by saying that until someone like her comes along and, you know, gives Hannah O'Brien like the correct information. A lot of quacks will say this. Most professionals that I have spoken to, that I have listened to, that I have interacted with in any capacity will tell you that there is no one custom fit solution for everybody. Not everyone can do the same thing and get the same results. I mean, our biology limits us to a certain degree, right? Like, I have lipedema, and so any results I get are going to be vastly different from the results that another person can get because my biology limits me. Now, there are other limiting factors. Some people, for example, have a genetic tendency to develop diabetes. Other people may have other issues that limit what they can and cannot do, what they can and cannot accomplish. And for women especially, like having stuff like a really flat tummy can be very difficult, right? We've got a uterus and it leans against our body wall. It leans against our body cavity. And if you've had kids at any point, your structure is just going to be different. So I've never interacted with any kind of professional who's suggested a one-size-fits-all sort of a solution. The fact that she does automatically rings all of my bullshit sensors.
And she put up this video, weight loss, diet and fitness, I am spilling all the tea, and she talks about being fearful basically of the body positivity community, you know, being negative towards her for wanting to get healthy, for wanting to lose weight. And I'm just like, oh, what is the world that we are living in when someone is trying to improve their health, to get better, and others who are in a similar position are like, no, they're trying to pull her back down. Like, no, you can't get healthier. You're our role model. You are our truth, our beacon of truth that we're putting up there as an example of health at every size. You know, you can be morbidly obese at any size. I mean, you can be healthy and be morbidly obese. And we know that's not true. And it's just sickening that people would be negative towards her trying to do something positive for her life.
All right, for all that I think that she promotes a lot of quackery, this I cannot disagree with her on. You guys know how I feel about the body positivity movement. And honestly, not so much. I don't think I've made this distinction clear enough. It's not that I hate the body positivity movement. I think the body positivity movement is like fine, right? It's the fat activist movement that I really have a problem with. And unfortunately, they have kind of co-opted body positivity as well. To the point now where body positivity is no longer a space for everybody. Body positivity always seems to be only connected to heavier, fatter individuals. And that kind of upsets me a little bit because that doesn't seem fair to me, right? You've got your own movement. This movement is for everyone. Leave body positivity for everybody. And if you want to preach fat acceptance, do it in the fat acceptance hashtags. But whatever. Can't hate on her for that. I agree. Unfortunately, even a stopped clock can be right twice a day.
This was like, okay, maybe I need to start doing something. So I started
Maybe I need to start doing something good. Okay.
researching about lipedema, and there were just all these really extreme diets that were suggested. And honestly, a lot of the people who are actively talking about lipedema practice those diets. So
Okay, so she says extreme diets. And for Anna, who is eating extremely badly, she would see probably plant-based as extreme. And we know it's not, okay? It's the way that humans are meant to eat. And I'm all about, we're frugivores, okay? Which means we should eat high fruit. But I'm also supportive of a higher starch, starch solution style approach as well. But you really do need to get the fruit in eventually. But if for her, it's a good transition for sure. But she probably thinks it's extreme, which is crazy. It gives you great results, and it's cruelty free and it's great.
Okay. This is the first thing that she did that really, really upset me. She talks about how going like being a frugivore, I guess she calls it, is going to be something that seems very, very extreme to Hannah O'Brien, that being on a plant-based diet is going to seem very extreme to her because she's eating extremely poorly. Here's the thing about fat people. Fat people absolutely can eat like garbage, right? But that doesn't mean that, first of all, that's all we eat. Second of all, as much as I hate to give our girls any kind of a cop-out, what I can say is that you can absolutely overdo it on healthy foods too. That's actually a problem with binging, right? It's not what you eat, because you can binge. I think I saw this in one of Charlie Gold's old videos where she talked about how she used to binge on those 100-calorie little snack packs. Binging is not about what you're eating. It's about how much of it you're eating and the mentality, the mindset that you have when you're doing it. And I think that's the thing that she's not accounting for here, right? She could eat, like Glitter and Lasers could eat healthy every single day. She can be doing all of the things she needs to eat healthy like every single day, but she can also just be eating too many calories of healthy foods. And sometimes we don't realize that calories from healthy foods, if you're eating over, are still gonna cause you to gain weight. So you don't know, right? Unlike with a lot of what Chantal says and what we see with Amber, Glitter and Lasers has not put up her entire inventory of what she eats on a semi-regular basis. We don't know what she's eating. In fact, because we have her what I eat in a day videos, we know she actually does eat a lot better than most people do. So the fact that Freelee is just using this, she's like, well, she'll just see this. You don't know that. You don't know that. You're just making an assumption and honestly painting her to look kind of bad at the same time. And that's a pretty shitty thing for her to do.
I chose keto because I like meats and cheeses.
Okay, boom. I chose keto because I like meats and cheeses. There you go, Anna. There is your problem, okay? She likes the meats and cheeses. They don't like your back, okay? It's not working for you, Anna. It's keeping you huge.
Apparently they don't love her back. Wow. What an incredibly terrible and mean-spirited thing to say. It's comments like these where I really do understand where Chantal and Amber come from when it comes to fat shaming.
This is also about health. These foods don't contain any fiber. They don't contain any carbohydrates. Like, they're obviously not meant to go in our incredibly long digestive system. They're just not meant to go in there, okay? They're meant to go through very quickly through, omnivore, a carnivore's digestive system, and we don't have that. We have the frugivore digestive system, okay? So it causes a lot of problems. So she tried keto.
Okay, two things about this really stupid image that she's put up on screen talking about how we're frugivores. Frugivore is not a thing. There is omnivore, there is carnivore, and there's herbivore, right? Those are the three major categories of the way that I think it's all land animals, but it could just be mammals eat. So a carnivore is something that eats only flesh, only meat, right? So say like a lion. A herbivore is something that eats only plant-based matter, so like say a deer. And then there's omnivores. Pigs are omnivores. Fun fact, so are humans. If you look at the way that our teeth are actually shaped, you'll see that our incisors are significantly sharper than those of just herbivores or a frugivore. And so, no, we're not frugivores. Second of all, this picture that she's showing you, this picture is from the Raw Till 4 website. And I don't believe in taking your information from a place that's trying to sell you this diet. You want independently peer-reviewed information. And this is a really big problem with her. She makes a lot of these grand sweeping statements about the health and the effectiveness and the efficacy of a lot of these claims that she makes without offering any kind of real evidence at all. Not even like hard evidence. There's like no evidence, right? And the few times where she does offer some evidence, it's all like, I don't know, it's all from like terrible garbage sources, like this one, for example. I hope this doesn't, I mean, I guess wearable for me might just be a little bit brighter than it is for most people, but I also have a deeper skin complexion than, like I'm like the middle of the pack. So sometimes I can get away with wearing a little bit more color because the depth in my skin makes it so that it doesn't look quite so outlandish. So sorry about that. I'm so sorry about that. Not about the fact that I have melanin in my skin, just that I don't know how to scale it up or down for skin tones. Unfortunately, no matter how good I am at makeup, I'm not a professional. Only know how to work with my own skin.
And I did keto, and I actually developed a really terrible keto rash all over.
I'm not surprised. I'm not surprised because you're not meant to eat keto. You're not meant to eat a high meat and cheese diet. It's just so wrong for frugivores. It seems like everywhere we look on YouTube these days, someone is trying the keto diet. From beauty bloggers to gamers. We become sick from this high level of ketones that are starting to poison the blood.
All right, next we get this this additionally stupid claim of the fact that it's poisoning our blood. What poison? What poison is it leaching into our blood, and what evidence do you have of the fact that being on a keto diet will do that to you? I want like a study. I want some sort of evidence by somebody who does not work for freely, who does not gain anything from this. I want like a researcher, like a person who went to school, figured out how to do research, and now is giving me this information. I do not like getting information for people who are also actively trying to like push their book in every other sentence in this video. So
she needs around 3,500 calories because we saw her doing, I mean, I'm not sure if you've seen a TikTok, but I'll show a little bit. She's been doing exercises like jumping jacks. She's been doing quite a bit of movement. And as a personal trainer who had a successful personal training business for many years, I do not recommend someone who is morbidly obese or even obese to do jumping jacks and explosive movements, okay? Because there's too much weight on your joints. Go for a walk or even a bike ride that supports your weight, supports your joints. There's none of this impact. But just walking is enough for Anna. So Anna, please listen, don't do that, okay?
All right, this point I will actually agree with her again on. I don't know what her credentials are as a weight loss professional. What I will say is that if you're morbidly obese and you're trying to lose weight, do talk to like a physical therapist or a personal trainer that specializes in obesity, because unfortunately when you are obese there are certain considerations that you want to take. So like Anna O'Brien is doing these like badass moves where she's like jumping and you know doing all that stuff. That puts a lot of pressure on your knees, right? Because the heavier you are, the more pressure you're going to exert when you actually like on the downswing. So you want to be careful when you are exercising at such a heavy weight, because you could very easily injure yourself. And I've seen this with a lot of people on my 600-pound life. This is not exactly scientific, it's just something that I have noticed, is that a lot of them will be gaining weight steadily, slowly, and then they'll have an injury, and then they'll be bedbound, and then all of a sudden their weight like skyrockets. And that is something that I've always worried. Honestly, that was a really big concern of mine for Amber Lynn too, was that she would fall I remember she put that clickbaity video up where she's like, I fell. And I was actually genuinely scared for her, because if she falls and she breaks a leg or something, with her emotional eating issue, she's not going to slow down the intake of calories because she's no longer burning as much as she was before. She's going to keep eating at the same pace that she was. She'll put on a massive amount of weight, and she might just end up becoming bedbound, which is something I've seen on, like I said, my 600-pound life a lot.
But anyway, the point here is 3,500 calories. So, she's moving. This is a basal metabolic rate. Okay, so she needs that many calories. And there might be a lot of you saying, oh, that's so many calories. She won't lose weight if she eats that much. Rubbish. Okay, she needs more like 5,000 calories from the right food sources, from the low fat, the high carbohydrate food, the plant foods, not the high saturated animal fat, which is just keeping her big. You heard her. She likes the meat and cheeses.
No. You cannot switch where your calories are coming from and expect that you'll be losing weight regardless of everything else. So I feel this way about keto a lot. People will say, just go on keto and you'll lose weight. And the thing is, initially, after the first little bit where you will lose a lot of that water weight that you're holding on to because you've got all those carbs in your system, something I mentioned before, for every 4 gram of carbs that you have, you need 1 gram of water. So you're holding on to a lot. So when you cut out a lot of carbs from your diet, you're going to let go of a lot of that water, and you're going to maybe do a little bit better. I'm sorry if my volume is like not doing the best. I've got my lapel mic on here, and my arm may cover it depending on my makeup, and I apologize if that's happening. I haven't listened back to it yet, so keep my fingers crossed. Either way, what I mean to say is that once you've done that, you're not going to be losing any more weight. You might actually gain a lot of weight if you're not careful about what you eat, especially on a keto diet, because you're eating a lot of high-fat foods, which tend to be generally lower in like volume, right? So like an ounce of nuts is going to have a lot more calories than like an ounce of lettuce. So you just want to be careful when you're eating that. But either way, it doesn't matter, because if you're eating too many calories, you're eating too many calories. You'll gain weight regardless. Doesn't matter the source, really, which is why we've seen so many different diets be quote unquote effective at weight loss, right? Because if anything can cause you to gain weight, you can also lose weight by practicing just about any kind of a diet, be it, extreme carnivore, or be it, I don't know, extreme high carb.
Here's what I eat in a typical day. First, I started with a goat cheese spinach frittata and some roasted sweet potatoes.
Okay, so that is what she's starting with. Goat cheese, spinach, frittata, and roast sweet potato. I'm all about the roast sweet potato. I think that's great. For breakfast, I wouldn't have it. I wouldn't recommend it, because I'm all about the fruit. You need that hydrating, nourishing food in the morning. Fruit is just where it's at, because it's full of water, full of fiber. It is really, really healthy for your colon to have that first thing in the morning. But sweet potato, I'm obviously supportive of that, but you need more fructose, even more fructose when it comes to fruit. Okay, so this spinach frittata thing is just it's just full of fat. It's goat cheese, it's eggs. It's just no, okay? It's no. It is cruel food, and it is not good for her waistline. So Anna's breakfast came out to 370 calories. I mean, that's ridiculous for her. It has bananas, 8 bananas, PB2 organic powdered peanut butter powder, okay? So this is a low fat, the fat has basically, a lot of the fat's been removed from this peanut butter, so you can put the powder in, but you still get that peanutty flavor, and it is great. You can have soy milk in there and dates, and honestly, it is such a tasty smoothie.
So she recommends having this smoothie in place of the breakfast that Hannah is actually having. So rather than having her perfectly delicious looking, perfectly acceptable looking breakfast of a spinach and goat cheese frittata, she's saying have this smoothie instead. This smoothie has considerably less protein, which is, by the way, the most satiating of all of the macronutrients. This smoothie has a ton of carbohydrates and a ton of easily accessible carbohydrates, so nothing slow burning for the most part, and it's significantly higher in calories, and it's also significantly lower in micronutrients. Spinach is great. I mean, it's not really, it's got a lot of oxalates in it, so it's not exactly great for like iron and whatnot, but that doesn't mean that it's not great for other micronutrients. And honestly, you could add so much more, right? So if you're making a spinach and egg frittata, you could even switch like half the amount of spinach out for half the amount of wilted kale or something. And you could throw in bell peppers and red peppers and use the egg kind of like a binder and that goat cheese as a flavorant. Once more, not arguing with her on the ethics of this. It is absolutely a cruel meal, but it is a very healthy one. It's a great meal. She's constructed a very, very well-portioned, satiating meal. She's got a ton of fiber from the spinach and some fiber from the sweet potato. She's getting some good, long-lasting, like satiating carbs from the sweet potatoes. She's got the eggs in there for some protein and some fat, and then same with the goat cheese, some protein and some fat. This is a great meal. If you guys want an example of how to have a good, delicious, healthy looking, low calorie meal option, this would be it. What Freely is recommending is idiotic. It has very little fiber. It has a ton of carbs, and all those dates are very easily accessible sugar. You're going to drink it. Your body is not going to be able to use up all of that if you're not working out immediately after that. It's going to convert a lot of those carbs into fat, and then you're going to be hungry again a little bit later because it's going to run right through you. Please, please don't listen to her, okay?
Also with that,
this is what happens when you don't have enough calories for breakfast, enough glucose, enough fructose into your cells.
I drank a Perk energy drink just to get myself going because I was super tired that morning.
Yeah. So she had a Perk energy drink with just a coffee. She had a coffee. It's like 100 milligrams of caffeine. You know, boom, she needed that. She needed that caffeine hit. Anyone who is having caffeine in their diet has an inadequate diet. It is a deficient diet. But look, this is why she needs to eat more. She needs to eat more for breakfast and more carbohydrates, okay? Like, so she has energy and she doesn't go for the drugs. I mean, I haven't had coffee for something like 15 years, okay? Because my diet's not deficient, right?
I don't understand what her problem with caffeine is as a mostly caffeinated life form. It's just really dumb to me that she seems to hate caffeine and views it kind of like a drug. Ma'am, I could be doing cocaine. Instead, I'm just out here drinking my 1 cup of coffee a day. There's nothing wrong with having coffee. Honestly, you can have like a cup of coffee, a couple cups of coffee a day. It's not that much of an issue. I have like 1 cup of coffee every morning, give or take. And I'll have like a second cup of coffee when I start getting like the afternoon like kind of munchies when I get hungry or like tired really. Because when I get tired, I really want to eat a little bit more. So I have that then. Yes, I am carving out my face. I told you guys I'm a member of the Round Face Club. Anyway, yeah, I have 2 cups of coffee and maybe a cup of tea in there if I'm not feeling the coffee one day, or I'll have a cup of tea and a cup of coffee. Scandalo. But there's nothing wrong with it, and her kind of like fear-mongering about how it's like a drug is absolutely idiotic. I don't know why she seems to hate it. And there's actually some benefits of taking coffee. I mean, aside from the fact that it is a life-giving nutrient and everybody should have it, it also has shown some modest effects when it comes to boosting your metabolism. So it could actually help you lose weight.
So let's see here.
Then I had a delicious...
That does not look, that looks disgusting. Look at that. Oh, no. It looks like powdered pus for me. Powdered, solidified bovine secretion, like gross. Goats. I used to eat goat's cheese and this stuff is really unhealthy.
cranberry bacon goat cheese salad.
Cranberry bacon. So she's got, this is not good. This is full of fat. Let's have a look how much fat this has in it, shall we? 1,153 calories, basically, this salad is. It may be a little bit less, okay, but it is full of fat. So I've got her for lunch here, okay? This is a similar size lunch, but it's actually pizza rolls. So we've got rice and we have some fruit jellies here and we have pizza rolls. She can pack that in, no problem at all.
It's funny, I had to take notes on this because I can't obviously watch her video and then also do my makeup at the same time. So I've basically watched her video once through, and I'm kind of watching it right now with the captions on, and I'm like reading my notes to remind myself of what my first thoughts were. And all I have is where is the protein, which honestly could be a title of her, all of her like what I eat in a day kind of videos, because she eats so little protein. This entire lunch is almost entirely devoid of protein. I mean, and I don't even know why it's devoid of protein. All she really needed to do was maybe add like a little bit of like tofu to this, or like seitan to this, or like anything. Like you could add just about any plant-based source of protein and this would be fine, right? I understand might not be the most tasty in like a pizza roll-up if you have like chickpeas or something in there, but having a complete meal, I think, especially when you're selling a diet book, forget multiple diet books, claiming that you know what you're talking about, but then recommending garbage like this to them, I just kind of feel like you should maybe be giving them good advice because you're charging for it.
Little snack, I got myself some lentil chips and pizza flavor, because why?
That is a whole hunk. Anyway, let's get, that's horrible. Whew, let's go back to lentil chips. So I would say she had the whole packet, right? Of course she had the whole packet. Enjoy Life lentil chips margarita pizza, one bag is 550 calories and it's 26 grams of fat. It's nearly 50% fat, these lentil chips. So she's just fat, fat, fat. Where do you think the fat that you're eating is going? Okay? Look, if you were to get a biopsy of your fat stores, you can see exactly what sort of fat, you get that biopsy, what sort of fat you like to eat.
I chose keto because I like meats and cheeses.
And if she likes to eat meat and cheeses, then her fat is just going to be filled with basically meat and cheese, with animal bits and pieces and secretions. That's gross, right? To be part pig, to be part pus, basically, part pus and pig. I mean, I don't want to be carrying those extras around.
This is a really problematic premise that I've seen not just Freely, but a lot of people embrace, which is that if you eat a very high-fat diet, you're going to get fat. The fat you eat is not the fat you wear. That's pretty conclusively shown by science. So if you're eating a lot of, say, bacon, you're not putting on pig fat on your thighs. You're still putting on human fat on your thighs if you're overdoing it on the bacon. And that's why you can absolutely eat keto, carnivore, and lose weight. It's all about moderation in those sense, right? And even if you weren't eating that, say like avocado, you don't have avocado fat stored on your thighs if you're fat and you happen to eat a lot of avocado. Like Nikocado, I guess, once upon a time. Gave myself horrifying images. The fat you eat is not the fat you wear. I'm just going to leave it at that. Don't believe this nonsense, please, no matter who tells you, pretty much. Unless it's a doctor. Always believe your doctors first and foremost.
So anyway, she had this, like, she's having a bunch of fat, but what I recommend, instead of her having that, she can have date and coconut rolls. Either date or coconut rolls, or she can have banana and ice cream with chocolate sauce. 1,022 calories. This is the way to go for frugivores.
Once more, humans are not frugivores. We cannot live on fruit.
Why not? And
instead of having lentil chips, because she needs more sugar. You can see that clearly. She's not having, is she having any sweet fruit? There's no sweet fruit. She had some tomatoes there and she had, she had no sweet fruit. And this is absolutely vital for frugivores if you're going to be satisfied and get slim long-term like myself. I've stayed the same weight for over a decade, no calorie restriction, no excessive exercise, no caffeine, no drugs, none of that, okay? Because I'm feeding myself correctly. I'm getting enough fruit in, getting enough fructose in.
If you guys have ever noticed, whenever she talks about weight loss and how she's managed to lose weight eating a low-fat, raw vegan diet, and based predominantly in based predominantly in fruit, and how she's kept the weight off. And she'll show you this clip that she just showed a lot. there is a reason why she always shows this clip. If you notice in this clip, you can only see her face, and she has a very round face. Now, I don't know about you guys, but as a member of the Moon Face Club, I can tell you for a fact that as I've gotten older, more and more of my features are I guess they're coming into more sharp relief against my face, right? A really good example of this would be somebody who has a much superior bone structure to me, Margot Robbie. Take a look at her baby pictures and then take a look at her adult pictures. Her face is very round when she is younger, right? She still has nice features, but she has a rounder face then because you have baby fat. This picture of Freelee is obviously more than 15 years old by her own admission. So she would have been like a baby then. She would have had actual baby fat on her face. What did the rest of her body look like? Because that's what I want to know. She's very fit now, but if my understanding is correct, I don't think she's ever been overweight or obese in the slightest. So the fact that she's preaching to us about being like how much weight she's lost and how she's managed to maintain it while having no lived experience and no scientific background at the same time as she promotes quackery in every other breath is like super upsetting to me. Because if you don't have any lived experience and you don't have any scientific understanding of it, then what the hell are you talking about and from what point of view?
This is just horrible.
For dinner, I had a nice steak.
Oh, a nice steak. Sister, like, this is just like disgusting. It's just this chunk of animal ass. Like, why would you put that into your body? And like, this is why you're the size you are. Okay, you are a frugivore eating like a carnivore. This is not gonna work. Me no worky, okay? Me no worky, all right? And then she had this like gratin stuff, like this cauliflower cheesy thing, I guess, and corn. I put this into the Cronometer as well. Let's go and check it out. Okay, so beef steak, I'd say it's like half a kilo, okay? So 800 calories.
I mean, I'm going to hope that she's not doing this maliciously, but that steak is maybe like, I mean, I would say that looks like a 6-ounce steak to me, maybe an 8-ounce steak. That is not like a 1-pound steak. I'm just going to assume that Freelee does not know what a 1-pound steak would look like because she stated multiple times that she's been essentially vegan for, what, 15 years now? And maybe she just doesn't have an idea of what a 1-pound steak would look like. You know, density for animal foods and density for plant foods is very, very different. So I'm going to give her the benefit of the doubt here, even though I don't want to. I kind of want to be mean. I know that that would be unfair of me. So I'm going to go ahead and assume that she's not doing that on purpose. She just doesn't know because she doesn't have as much experience with it anymore.
Potato and chickpea curry. Honestly, very, very tasty. I've even got a video where I make this recipe on my main channel, but you just eat unlimited. So I added that to her total, okay? I've got 4,468 calories here for her for the day. Yes.
All right. Her last meal that she talks about is her dinner meal. And she talks about how apparently the steak isn't good enough and the sides that she has aren't like good enough. And she's like, she doesn't eat enough raw fruit. She's eaten vegetables in pretty much every single meal. So, you know, I don't know. And she talks instead about how she should have a chickpea and potato curry with rice. Chickpeas are a pretty good source of protein, but they are not a complete protein, first of all. I just want you guys to be aware. And also, the meal that she is recommending is ridiculously high in carbs and, once again, is not very high in healthy fats or protein. Chickpeas are pretty high in protein, but considering that this is a potato and chickpea curry and she's having it over rice, you can bet your bottom dollar this is going to be extremely high in carbs and generally pretty low in protein overall. Now, you could up that. You could make it a only chickpea sort of curry. You could make it a chickpea and like, you know, not garbanzo beans, but like kidney beans curry. Yeah, you could combine a bunch of different beans in it. You could add lentils to it. You could make it a much more satiating and delicious meal full of a lot of delicious proteins. She doesn't do that, but you could have done that. And you can see in her total at the end of the day that it's 94 grams of carbs. 94 grams of protein. Given just the sheer amount of calories that she's eating, that is ridiculous. ridiculous. Like, I've said this multiple times, but you need a good combination of protein, fiber, and healthy fats to really find a meal like satiating and like just satisfying emotionally as well, right? I cannot begin to fathom how hungry a person would feel if all they were eating was high carb, high sugar foods, but they were eating a ton of it and they only had 94 grams of carbs. That's crazy. Like, I couldn't imagine that. First of all, I think I would feel like really sick eating that many carbs and not eating very much like else, but that's just me. But even beyond that, I feel like I would just be hungry the whole day. So she says this a lot where she's like, it's the fat you eat is the fat you wear. And if you're eating, your whole body runs on carbs and glucose, and that's why you should be eating a lot of it. That's not how the body actually works. Your body can convert pretty much anything into anything else. It's just it's a degree of how difficult it is. And converting carbs into fat is actually pretty easy. The other way around can be a little bit more difficult. And that's why eating a higher fat diet can lead to a little bit more weight loss for some people. Either way, carbs, excess starch, all of that will turn into fat. It's just a matter of, how long it takes. Now, if you're eating a lot of sweet potatoes and you're overdoing it on sweet potatoes, it might take a little bit longer and you might convert less of it, but it will still convert. If you're eating just straight table sugar, it's going to be pretty easy conversion because your body doesn't have to do anything to get it into a state where it's easy to process into fat. You'll eat it, it'll go basically from your gut directly to your thighs for me. Okay, I had to go switch my lipstick out because I didn't, this is why I use this. This is the Safiya Nygaard and ColourPop lipstick in Bikini Bottom. I absolutely hate the way that it looks on my mouth, and it gets that weird, like, gross white film thing. Like, I'm already getting it, and I've barely had this on for like 10 minutes. So I love using it on my face because you see how that looks. I love it. I think it looks great. On my mouth, it looks atrocious, so I cannot wear that. So I got a different lipstick. This is my favorite color, I think, ever. This is the Bite Beauty Buttercream lipstick in Rosewood. I think I put Amuse Bouche before, but it is Buttercream. This is like the second tube I've used, and I have a ton of lipstick, so that says something. All right. So all in all, what I have to say about Freelee is that nobody should listen to her. Raw till 4 is stupid. You can eat cooked foods. They are not poison for the most part. And I don't think anybody should listen to anything she has to say. That might sound a little bit more dismissive, but I just think that Freelee has a lot of very extreme views, and I really wish she didn't, because some of what she says is actually correct. And unfortunately, there's so much quackery and everything else that it makes it very difficult to believe in the few salient points that she actually does manage to present in her videos. Now, for the earrings, these, by the way, are the earrings that I'm putting on. I think they're really cute. These are, it's like sterling silver and ivory. And before anybody gets on my case, this is mammoth ivory. I got these when I went to Alaska. If you guys are ever considering buying anything, try and see if you can find like a native person. First of all, their skills are very, they're far superior to anything I think you can find just like at a general shop, but also you're supporting natives, and I think that you should try and buy as much from small businesses as you can and support individuals wherever you can. And also, these are really freaking cool. I'm wearing mammoth ivory. Can you believe that? Okay, so that will be it for the video from me. If you guys like this video, please do let me know. She has a lot of nonsense that she goes over with, and this wasn't the original video that I'd planned for today. I am still working on that obesity being a national epidemic thing. Obesity being a national security crisis video. It's taking me a while. But if you guys like this video and you like my response to Freelee, and there's other quacks that you guys want me to cover, I am more than happy to do it. Let me know if you guys have any suggestions. If you like this video, you want me to do more responses to Freelee, more than happy to do it. Like I said, don't like her, and I genuinely think she's harmful for everybody. But that will be it. So if you like this video, give me a thumbs up. If you hated it, you can give me a thumbs down. That's totally fine. I respect everybody's opinion here. Subscribe if you haven't already subscribed. Hit the notification bell down below if you haven't done so. Hit all and you'll know when I upload any video. Share with your friends. Save me from the horrors of the YouTube algorithm, as it were. I have all my social medias linked down below. I've got Instagram, where it's mostly just food. If you guys didn't see, I made a pretty bitchin' cake, okay? you guys should go check that out if you're interested in that kind of thing. I also put what's happening in my life on there, but right now I don't have a life, so that's kind of lacking. I have my Twitter. What I have on Twitter is basically just my opinions on things. I'm a little bit toxic on there sometimes, occasionally. And I have, all of my channel updates and whatnot, stuff that's happening in that regard. So if you guys are interested in any of that kind of content, that's where you can find it. And I've got Patreon. Think of Patreon as the tip jar for the internet. So if you like the job that I'm doing, and you want to toss a few coins in my direction, please, that's where you can do it. There's a variety of perks that you can earn by becoming one of my patrons. They're all listed in my Patreon links. If you want to go check it out, please do. Understand that all of your funds will go directly towards buying me more tubes of this exact lipstick. Think about it. It's an important fund. And that will be it from me. Thank you so much for watching. I'm Jasmine, the sequel, and I am not relatable. Peace. Freely is really, really fit, and she's really, really snide. I wonder how many calories that burns.